Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
What's up, Doom Nation, and welcome back. You are listening to the Two Doom Men podcast. As always, it's Skaggs and yours truly, the Captain. And what's up, buddy? What do we got on the docket today? I think we have a guest joining us. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, he's working on it. Garrett should be joining us momentarily. He's going to be jumping in here in progress. The Samurai. Would be good to talk with him again. We're going to be talking about Hunter Biden getting found guilty on the gun charges.
Guilty.
Yeah, and we'll give our takes. See how probably we'll give our theories and how it plays out in this long drama of the 2024 election that seems to never end, but it will come to an end eventually at some point. And we're going to talk about Dr. Fauci. I remember last week we kind of briefly mentioned him testifying in the Congress, and there was one part I saw that was really interesting that I think a lot of people missed, perhaps. And I got some context around it.
Making up new conspiracies.
Yeah, or dismissing. Still, Dr. Fauci, after all these years, dismissing conspiracies. So Garrett's having a little trouble. I don't know what to tell him. He's having some trouble jumping into the lobby here. But I guess we could just get started. And that's what he gets for not being here on time or being 2 minutes late. We waited to 8 to start the stream as well. So let's just jump into it, Captain. Any first thoughts before we maybe read out what exactly Hunter Biden is guilty of?
No, let's get into it because this is a mixed bag of reviews. I don't think we're going to be too far apart on our opinions here. Last week I said, or the week before, I don't even remember now, that we were in such an interesting position with Trump's trial that if he's found innocent, his polls go up. He's found guilty, his polls go up. But if Hunter Biden, gets let off and they don't really, go after him, Biden's polls could go down. If Biden's found guilty, Biden's polls could go down. So it's a very unique situation. And, I'm kind of surprised that the two of us, because I know what we're going to talk about. I'm sure there's people in Doom Nation that know what we're going to talk about and how we missed this perspective that we'll get into of how this is kind of just, the plea deal he takes so the Biden family doesn't really get, shat on for its crimes.
There he is. He figured it out. Let's bring him in.
Yay.
All right, hang on. Hello.
Say what's up to everybody.
What's up, boys?
How we doing, pal? How we doing?
Dude, I'm running like a madman, but I made it.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Buzzer beater.
It's good to see everybody.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you back. This is a good topic. This, like I was saying before, like the election 2024 drama, this is our wheelhouse here, boys. The three of us. This is what we love the most. Like, and everybody likes it, right? You could speculate. You could get into all sorts of crazy. Who's going to be involved? Who's going to jail? Who's got a dick? Who doesn't? All these things. So
we're basically just
I got a dick.
Spitballing like Game of Thrones theories right now.
Oh, all right, perfect. So I don't know how you are on your end. You're getting a little glitchy on my end, so I'm trying to hear you out.
Okay, who? Boy. Captain or me?
Captain's a little glitchy. Let me see, Skaggs, you good?
I'm good. You're coming in fine.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just like the audio's kind of giving me like that. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
So
I also have my AC on because it's boiling hot
AC season. I bought a new AC in here in the man cave back here, just so that it'd be quieter in the background when we record. So, all right, let's get into it. I want to start first by telling everybody exactly what it is Hunter Biden's been found guilty of, which I was about to do before we brought Garrett in here. So I got this from Mariner Fall, and he's saying what Hunter Biden found guilty of. What exactly? He was convicted of 3 felonies related to a gun purchase in October of 2018. Prosecutors alleged he falsely claimed he was not using or addicted to drugs on the purchase form. So 3 counts. Count 1, false statement on his firearm sale, lying on gun purchase form. Count 2, false statement on a transaction record, false statement on records. Count 3, illegal possession of a firearm, drug user in possession. Each charge carries a maximum penalty of 10 years for the first 2 counts and 5 years for the third. So 10 years for the first 2 counts. So I guess that's 15 years total, or is it 25 years?
25 years total.
Yeah. No. That's it. That's what we get for Hunter Biden after all these years. Cap, you want to start? What do you think?
Yeah. So, I mean, hoorah, yay, Biden is found guilty. There is some form of accountability for this garbage family and for this garbage human being that is known as Hunter Biden, who does terrible things like that video Garrett shared of him dragging a screaming prostitute down the hallway, which I'm sure, people in Doom Nation have seen. But we
have to defend him.
I know. Like
we do have to defend him.
This sucks, man. This sucks because we're huge 2A advocates. If like they appeal this and it goes to the Supreme Court and Hunter Biden is the reason why federal background checks for gun purchasing is overturned, it's just the greatest, like, nobody would believe this story. But the thing that irked me, and we didn't see this perspective sooner, is that I really feel like, and we spoke about this, that this is just, he's found guilty. He might be sentenced to 25 years in prison. But if he goes to prison for this, he goes away. He's out of the limelight. He's forgotten. He's no bigger of a stain on the Biden family. By the election time, Hunter there'll be no, you'll bring up the Hunter Biden laptop and then they'll just go, oh, well, he's in jail serving 25 years. So justice is had. Right. There's no more. If he goes away for this, there's no diving into Ukraine and 10% for the big guy. And that is what pisses me off more than the fact that we need to defend him and his Second Amendment rights.
Yeah, it's like, getting Al Capone on tax evasion.
Yeah.
Something, right? Instead of the actual crimes he's committed. Like, all taxation is theft anyway, right? Like, it shouldn't exist to begin with. That's what they get him on. It's this odd thing where these people are so, like this deep state, they're so committed to, like, the religion of their own statism that they'll use, like, that to even get their own people if they have to. Like, this is all invented by them anyway. They're infringements on your liberty. I'm going to get into a little bit self-incrimination in the Second Amendment. I don't know. Does it say in the Second Amendment anywhere that if you're a crackhead, you can't have a gun? No, it doesn't.
No, exactly.
Right? So, I mean, there's that principle to take.
But
like the thing to go after Hunter Biden after all these years was right, like you're saying before. The Ukraine stuff, Burisma, the 10% for the big guy. How all that stuff factored into the war going on right now. It's not no fucking coincidence that war is happening under the Biden's watch, and they were intrinsically, tied to that whole thing back in the coup in 2014 and all that stuff. So it's a very frustrating
pain in the ass.
I was just going to say that I don't think it's by accident either that.
And the other thing,
force people with principles like us to kind of take his side in this.
And then the other thing is now the media, there's still a lot of stupid people out there that tune into mainstream media, that buys whatever the media says, that believes Chris Cuomo and Anthony Fauci, knew what they were talking about. And, the media gets out there right away and says, oh, see, they convicted Biden's own son. The justice system is as balanced as ever. Meanwhile, Trump's looking at like 400 years because they changed, the statute of limitations to get him. Yeah. But
misdemeanor and the felonies.
I'm sure you're chomping at the bit.
Yeah, let's go, buddy.
Well, I was letting you boys chop it up, and I wanted to listen and hear your guys' takes on it. And yes, I mean, we all agree very much so on the Second Amendment and self-incrimination. Every time they ask you, like, oh, are you a drug addict? Yeah, we're going to check yes. Okay, cool. Like, that's just the stupidest thing you can ever hear. I think he's a sacrificial lamb. And I also think it's like, but you're sacrificing him for nothing, really, because there's so much more skit that he is so guilty for. There's so much more shit that ties him directly to his father, his uncle. Like Skaggs was saying, this whole war in Ukraine is just to cover up their money laundering and to cover up all the fucking bullshit deals and all the crack and hookers he's been doing for all these years. Like, we right now know there is a laptop full of him just smoking crack, having a Pornhub channel, dragging hookers down the fucking the hallways by their ankles. You know, he calls his dad a pedo. You know, the sister's diary is confirmed real in court. She was like, yeah, it's mine. We know all this stuff's going out, and it's unfathomable to me that they're all like, yeah, their dad must be a really good guy.
Yeah. What a hero.
And we must vote for him again after he shits his pants in front of everybody. Can't get a sentence out, runs our country into the ground. But we're like, yeah, man, this is cool. This is equal justice. This is all just smoke and mirrors, man. Like like we've talked about, you know, offline us, because, you know, us three chit chat every day. And we war game pretty much everything that's going on in the world. I mean, look at the direct connection of what's happening and how not easy, but how these events snowballed. You went from him doing all these shady deals while he was vice president to now we're in a war on 6 fronts. There's literally Russian subs and battleships, and we have the Cuban fucking Missile Crisis going back off again. Yeah. This is all direct effect from this family's dealings and their bribery schemes through all these years. Why is Russia here? Because we're defending Ukraine.
Right. And you're talking about, I mean, you do have to have like a long memory. Most people didn't even know what was happening in Ukraine at the time, nor did they give a shit. We do, right?
Yes.
Right. Like the crime Hunter should be investigated for and probably convicted of with Joe is influence peddling in Ukraine, right? Like using the Biden brand.
Selling the seat of the vice president to
just call it what it is. It's not even influence peddling. It's treason.
Yes, it is. It is.
It's
yes,
treason. Call it what it is. Let's get that word into our atmospheres, because that carries the heaviest penalty we know that it can carry. Yeah, and if we start making it where, you know, they've used it as insurrection, they use all their keywords. We need to use our keywords.
Yeah,
true.
You know,
it is in a sense. It's selling out, you know, the security, definitely the security of your nation and your people for personal benefit. You know,
I don't know a better definition or a better example of what treason is than the fucking President Joe Biden. I don't know what it is.
So, all right. So here's a couple principled points I just want to make. I'm going to go to the Constitution itself. The libertarian is going to go to the Constitution. Why is the libertarian going to go to the Constitution? Because these people believe in the Constitution. They quote it all the time, right? It's their religious document that they always are referring to.
It's about democracy. We are saving democracy right now.
You guys are, but your candidates suck.
Yes. They do, definitely.
So you guys can't make fun. Hold on, real quick. You guys can't make fun of the Republicans and Democrats because your candidates are just as bad. Yeah. You have so many good candidates, and I'm just saying you guys because you guys go and speak with them. Like, you know me, I don't like any of them, right? So, but like, after all the principality and all the Constitution raising, you give us these two jerk offs? Like, come on, man.
They picked they picked the progressive.
That's not what our camp. That's not what our camp picked. Let's just put it.
You know, it's funny because now, like, all the progressives I know, I'm like, so who are you going to vote for? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I can't do Biden. He's pro-Israel, blah blah blah. And I'm like,
go for Chase Oliver.
I was like, have you seen the Libertarian Party? And they're like, no. I was like, well, look up Mr. Oliver for me, please, and see what his politics are all about. And those are just votes leaving Biden.
Yeah, exactly. So he could be useful in that regard.
All right, let's go to the amendment. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
Sorry, we got excited.
That's all right. That's what we're here for. So I got the Fifth Amendment here, which most people are familiar with. I plead the Fifth. I plead the Fifth.
Fifth.
Right? You have a right to not self-incriminate yourself. Now, I'm on the government's website, constitution.congress.gov. I've scrolled down to more context on the Fifth Amendment later on. And there's an interesting part I found, which I think applies here. And it said, what the privilege protects against is compulsion of testimonial disclosures. Thus, the clause is not offended by such non-testimonial compulsions as requiring a person in custody to stand or walk in a police lineup, to speak prescribed words, to model particular clothing, or to give samples of handwriting, fingerprints, or blood. A person may be compelled to provide specific documents, even though they contain incriminating information. Okay. What the privilege protects against is compulsion of testimonial disclosures. On that, I think it's the 4478 form when you buy a gun, right? On it, it says Do you do drugs? Right? Are you addicted to drugs? And you have to check off yes or no.
Do you
That
have
is
child support?
Is that not a testimonial in a sense, right? You are
Yep.
you are in a sense testifying or making a testimonial statement that you do or don't do drugs, right? Well, here the Fifth Amendment tells me the privilege protects against its compulsion of testimonial disclosures being used against you in a sense, right? So a form, you're making a testimonial statement on a form. The form is a disclosure as well. I'm pretty sure it's even called a disclosure at some point. And then it's being used against you in a court to put you in jail, right? Let's go over to the more simple constitutional amendment, which everybody here knows and loves. 1 second.
Look, Skag's getting good at this technology.
This one is called the Second Amendment. I'm sure Doom Nation is familiar with it. It's very simple, about 2 lines. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So,
yes.
And infringement has been infringed.
Well, I mean, when you have
Simple
when you have books of laws being written against that, look how simple that was, but effective.
Yeah, but
Do you know what I'm saying?
Don't get the autism out of me now. How effective is it after all these years? It's being so infringed upon. I'm just using it. I'm citing it as the example for these people who believe in this religion of government, right?
Yes,
because these are their texts and they're not following them, to their own accord. Yeah, again, it doesn't say a well-regulated militia being necessary to the free security of a free state. The right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, except if you do drugs, except if you do crack,
except if you're smoking the weeds, man.
Right? Like it doesn't say any of that shit. It just says.
Well, you know what the funny thing is they wrote this on like the hemp paper while they were growing fields of hemp, while they were making their own barley and wine, and they were a bunch of drunkards and had fucking wooden teeth like Georgie Washington, right? But like these are the same guys that like drank every day, fucking. They smoke they smoke the peace pipes all the time. Like,
think of all the the snake oil.
All of them would not be able to.
That
carry
was selling
right
cough medicine that was like 90% meth,
cocaine and heroin.
The reason why all their teeth fell out.
Yeah, I know. They were just sipping on morphine all the time.
So I don't think it's a coincidence that they'd nab them on this, right? Like this. Not only does it give them the opportunity to kind of make Hunter Biden go away and control the narrative, where they could now use this as the justice system is impartial. We're not leaning on the justice system. The president's own son was found guilty.
Nobody's above the law.
No one is above the law. So like, yes, of course. Now they have that narrative point they could use. But man, like they're just reinforcing that you have no fucking rights in this country, especially the one right which could be used to oppose these people in the instance that they go super tyrannical and we need to break the guns out for some reason, right? It's no coincidence, man. I'm sorry. It's not. The fact that we have to defend Hunter Biden, it's like a psyop in of itself. Now, like we have to stand and spend an hour defend the guy who we think should be in prison the whole time instead of just being like, yeah, whatever, he should just be in prison.
Well, listen, he shouldn't be in jail for what they charged him for, but he should be in jail for the other things that carry the heavier penalty of treason, right? So in the grand scheme of things, they're charging them, they're getting what they want, they're showing the narrative nobody's above the law, and Joe Biden saving his son's life, and then they're going to plead down that 15 years to 3, and then he's going to serve 16 months with good behavior, if that, right? So a 15-year sentence just went down to a year and a half, and they'll probably cut it down somehow either, because like
he'll probably be out by November 6th.
Yes, exactly.
So like Goodfellas,
but he won't be able to vote anymore.
Yeah.
He's going to be in a huge room. They're going to be bringing him lobsters, and he's going to be slicing the garlic with.
They're going to bring him lobster, crack, and whores.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be like a vacation for him. He'll probably get clean.
I would like to bring up the fact of this form. What's the form?
I think it's the 4478 form. I could be wrong on the numbers. Whatever.
I lived in New York. I bought several firearms, and I always found that form hilarious because some of the questions were just. One of them that stuck out to me was, Are you an illegal alien? Well, you just did a background check on me, so you fucking tell me if I'm an illegal alien or not. And then secondly, are you buying this firearm for an illegal alien? So the federal government thinks that I am going to meet Jorge from Peru, and he's going to go, hey, Chris, look, I really want to get a gun. go to the store and buy me one. And he gives me money, and I go, okay, Jorge, I'm going to go buy you a gun.
If he's from Peru, he's probably giving you cocaine. I'm just saying.
That's fine. That's
Let's make
acceptable
this
currency. Acceptable currency. But now, I've already agreed to do this. Now I'm going to come out of the store empty-handed because a multiple choice answer stopped me. Like, bro, they literally asked this question. Like,
so okay, stupid. Sure. Well, so that's a great point.
Hold on, we got somebody in the chat. What do you got?
We'll save those for later. We
got them.
We have new structure here. We save them for later, so we don't disrupt our throw.
I thought we integrated them into the conversation.
We will later. So Cap, what you're saying is there's two great points of what you're saying. Number one, it's preposterous.
Sorry, Lance.
Right? Like no one is going to randomly just. No one who's using it for an organized crime purpose of buying guns for illegal aliens is going to be like, yes, I am doing that. Yes. Take me away. Right, number one. The only purpose that's on there is so that you can self-incriminate yourself. So that if later on they find out something you did wasn't above board or whatever it is in some other way, something you did that's not related to this thing exactly, they can then go and pull up this form and throw all these other charges at you to make sure that they get
Which is like a form of entrapment, right?
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah.
Because you're self-incriminating yourself. Right. Like it is a form of entrapment. But I mean, I don't know, dude. This is it's just so wacky. Like you said, we're sitting here spending our time defending this fucking schmo, right? But at the same time, like, people like us have to do these things because we believe in right and wrong, and we believe in law. Like we said, we believe in the law. But I mean, I don't believe that we need to have so many laws, and that they literally have to. We have to dedicate every day for them telling us how to live our lives and 2,000-page fucking bills and everything else about
that they got to wheel out
that law and this law and that law. Like, I mean, we don't need all that, right?
The one silver lining, Garrett, is that Hunter Biden could be the boomerang that comes back and destroys these gun control laws, which I'll defend him.
You think he's going to appeal?
No, and I've thought about that. Like, maybe this was done like on purpose to just be like, all right, like, we're going to use this patsy, and then look, and then it's going to. What did I say to you first thing when we were going back and forth? We were talking about this, and I'm like, well, it just gave the NRA the biggest fucking ammunition it could ever have.
Yeah, but they suck. It'd probably be the
they suck, but like that's the entity that's going to do it.
Yeah. Firearms Policy Coalition. They're the ones who are going to probably lead that case, not the NRA. The NRA is probably being paid off to keep their mouths shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is something. And again, I don't want to downplay the concept of what it is that they're charging him with. It's the guns, right? It would be really ironic if somehow it ends up going to appeal and overturned, and like a new precedent is set where
I think the irony is his father
are
wrote that bill, dude, Skaggs, the crime bill, and he's literally going to jail for smoking crack and guns. And what is they always tell you? If you're going to sell drugs, don't have guns with it because the fucking fine's double, right? And this is his son. This guy wrote the fucking bill, and he's literally shooting off his 9mm in his naked, bagging hookers and smoking crack. He's doing everything his father said that the black community was going to ruin the world for, and his son was doing it in his basement. Like, what the fuck?
Woke law of iron projection, right?
I think that's even just a deeply philosophical irony. You can't go and think you're going to go into government and make the world a better place through you being there for 40 years and legislating your morality again on everyone, especially if you can't even have your own house in order, right? Does it appear that Joe Biden
make your bed before you tell other people how to make theirs?
Do you guys think it's a coincidence that the exact things Joe Biden, the good things he was trying to do, or the things
that he ran on,
like the good things that he tried to do, are the things that his own shortcomings within his family? He's the leader of his family, right? He's the grandpa, he's the dad, now the grandpa, etc. Like, that's on you. The buck stops with the guy in charge. And his son was a complete fucking failure and drug addict loser in life. That falls.
I'm not surprised that his bread and butter of his political career is what's wrong with his own family members, because for years, up until a certain orange man came down an escalator in 2015, everybody in power was above the law. Let's be real. They were. Everything they didn't want us to do, they did. Everything they didn't want us to get away with, they got away with. That's the perks of being part of the establishment, being part of the shadow government, being part of the deep state. That, you enforce these bills, but when it shows up on your doorstep, you just brush it under the rug. That's the perks of it all.
Yeah, we referenced in the last episode, right, where Netanyahu said, if you're gonna put me in jail for this war, then you're gonna have to put President Bush in jail for his war too. And we were like, yeah, we should.
Your terms,
right?
your terms are
acceptable.
Yeah.
Right, that would be an equal application of the law, and ironically, that kind of showcased here how all these people are above the law, and they didn't just stop being above the law either. That's what I think the crux of what we're all three of us trying to get to here. Like, this isn't an accident. I didn't honestly think that they would find him guilty. I thought they would just continue not applying the law, evenly. Right? I still think they're not applying the law evenly. I think they're using it for a certain reason. But they are above the law. Go ahead. Who shared that? You shared that one?
I did. I was just hitting buttons. I'm fucking with shit.
That's fine. That's
Liberty Guy Lance. What's up, buddy? How you been?
Cap, gotta be Jorge, racist. It could be Mark from Canada.
Hell yeah.
It could,
Wow.
I guess, yeah.
People
Mark
from Canada are not going to pay me in cocaine. So
yeah,
sorry,
they
sorry,
love that shit
Canadians.
up there. Great White North, they call it.
So, how do you guys think this factors into the race? And then we'll move on to the next topic.
Race?
Yeah,
There's no race. Somebody's just following somebody.
Honestly, I think there will be. I still stand by what I said. This will hurt Joe Biden's polls slightly. A lot of people said, during the 2020 election that if the FBI and all these three-letter agencies didn't lie to the American public about Hunter Biden's laptops, that it could have swayed their vote. So I think it is going to, this is some affirmation for the people who are paying attention that might be on the fence. But if you are paying attention, pretty sure, you're not on the fence anymore. So I do think it'll hurt them. But come November, I don't think anybody's going to remember this. I really don't.
Yeah, one thing I will point out, it almost disappeared from the news already today.
Yeah.
Like, it's not being discussed, at least on Twitter or anywhere else I've seen.
Sorry.
That's here.
No, sorry. But like, Cap, you're saying like, oh, we're paying attention. This is all being put out there. People are seeing it. But like, I have friends that are like total fucking libtards. Well, they're acquaintances, I guess you would say. And they're like,
no, you're friends with liberals.
Yeah. Oh, definitely me. Yeah. Me of all people. But what's it called? I see them like posting memes and shit, which the left can't meme, right? But they'll be like, yeah, and I'm still not going to vote for a felon and a criminal because Hunter Biden isn't
not
the president.
Yeah.
You just eat a dick.
So
eat a big fat dick.
It's the mental gymnastics.
But that's also evidence of how this works in favor of protecting the narrative, right? Because someone like that now has this narrative armor that they could put on themselves when you would probably make another point to them about how the system's corrupt or whatever. You literally provided an exact example of how this could benefit Biden. I know, Captain, you're saying that it's not going to benefit Biden. I disagree. It does benefit Biden because Biden is a puppet.
So I mean,
right?
There's another way we can kick.
That's corrupt. It's not.
There's another way we can kick this around too, Skaggs. It's like, okay, this is we're spitballing here, folks. We're spitballing. All right. So like, he does this. His son gets a lot of jail time. He comes out. He pardons them, and then he goes, "I'm going to walk away," and this could be the lead-in for Newsom Obama. Right? That's one scenario.
Sure. Definitely, I agree. It definitely is a scenario at the convention, perhaps, or sometime around there, the DNC convention.
Because this could be laying, because like as we've been talking about for many years now, actually, all of us, right? We've been going through these timelines. We've been going through these things. We've talked about Obama and Newsom coming out probably over a year ago, right? We were talking about that maybe at this point. And we always say like, oh, this is laid out. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing happens by accident. I mean, you're seeing them even on mainstream media showing how incompetent Biden is over and over. Some people are protecting him, but even some people on like CNN, they're like, his polls are fucking bad.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, so they're starting to lay that groundwork because he's a useful idiot. His use is lost. They're going to throw him. They're going to throw Hunter. They did everything. Hey, you guys are millionaires. You made a good life, but this is going to be your extra strategy. You're going to, take the cop the blame. You have all your millions in those offshore accounts. We're going to have you pardon them. And then you two are going to ride off into the sunset. And then we're going to put Lady Dick and fucking the Joker in.
What if they don't pardon him, but the first thing Lady Dick and Newsom does is pardon Hunter? Joe Biden gets Joe Biden gets to keep his word. They're not running,
Yeah. Going back
that's
to my
a scenario, very possible.
About him not being a good father. If this was my kid, I'm pardoning him. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck, right? And any good father should pardon his son in this scenario.
Yeah,
right?
but
no, I'm sorry. Blood is thicker
tough
than
love,
the bullshit.
bro. Look at the piece of shit he is.
Okay, he is a piece of shit.
No, but I'm serious. He's not even like a
fault.
little piece of shit, Skaggs. He is the epitome of somebody that should be locked up in jail because he is a psychopath. All he does is smoke crack, pedophilia, fucking hookers. Like
he's definitely, he's definitely had a dead hooker in his hotel room or two.
Dude, they hid the guns for him. They did like there's nothing. What good has he done for society?
Nothing. Okay, I'm not going to say that Hunter Biden is not. I don't even.
No, if my kid didn't do anything.
Couple
wrong,
of prostitutes' kids do college.
Like even the tax evasion charge. Like, all right, if he gets nailed on a tax evasion charge, and I was the president, I'd be like, fuck it, let him go. But like he's out of like gun and hookers and cocaine and crack cocaine charges, and you can't just be like, oh, it's because he's an addict. Like he literally took his dead brother's wife, turned her into a crack whore, and just fucking destroyed her life too. And they literally, he goes and visits his dead
Garrett, we're all well aware of Hunter Biden's exploits, but what you're doing, the mistake you're making is you are making yourself Hunter Biden's dad, right? You're saying you
said if it was my kid,
right?
So I was putting myself in that shoes,
right? I
think I would also have intervened a long time ago, so my kid wasn't that big of a piece of shit, right?
So Joe Biden didn't do that, right? He failed as a dad. I'm not saying Hunter Biden is without any blame for all the things he's done wrong in his life. He is. I think this is all pointless anyway. We should be revisiting everything he's done, right? But I think as a father who did fail his son, he owes it to him to get him out of this and then to actually help him in some regard.
He's fucking 50 years old. We're talking like he's a 16-year-old kid. The guy's
he is a 16-year-old kid. He's doing crack and hookers all the time. He's a degenerate. What do you think? He's a fucking mature, righteous man, ready to lead a family.
50 years old, man. We're gonna help him out. We're gonna get him there. Like,
this family's fucked at the end of the day.
If you're 50 and still doing cocaine and heroin, like, there's not probably much of a chance, especially when you're like 30 years in the grind. Right,
but the Skaggs,
he'll stop doing heroin and cocaine, and he'll fucking end up dying.
The one pushback I have is Joe Biden has failed as a father, failed as a president, failed as the leader of the free world, and now he's going to pardon him and start helping his son. He's going to fail at that too. He's probably better off in fucking prison.
Instead, he's willing to let his son rot in prison for possibly 15 years. So that the deep state could score a narrative win. That's great father. Great dad.
No. He's willing to let his son rot in prison so he doesn't have to because he knows how much shit he had.
So so you guys
he
are
sacrificed his own kid. That just shows even more of a piece of shit he is.
Right. If he was a good dad, my point is he would get him out of this, and maybe he'd let it go. He'd resign and move on, and then just actually invest himself into fixing his fucked up son's life and being a grandpa and all these things.
Dude, he doesn't even know where he is, Skaggs. How is he going to be able to do all this?
Lance says Dennis Rodman 2024. Let's just fast track this shit. Fast track this shit. I think he meant. Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on Hunter Biden before we move on to the next topic, Dr. Fauci?
No, I'm done wasting my breath on that fucking.
Let's waste it about another waste of fucking life.
Yeah. Somebody who also has yet to face any accountability is Dr. Fauci. So he was testifying last week. We briefly mentioned it. There was
another failure.
Yeah, there was this interesting exchange between Malliotakis, who I think is from Staten Island, and Dr. Fauci and the lab leak. Let's listen.
Oh, this is a good one. Go ahead.
I just want to clarify for the record, because today you testified that you did not suppress the lab leak theory, yet in the past you have said, quote, It is a distortion of reality, unquote. You've said, quote, I've heard these conspiracy theories, and like all conspiracy theories, they're just conspiracy theories. That's what you told the American people. And so would you like to clarify what science were you following then versus
Yeah,
now?
no, I've also been very, very clear and said multiple times that I don't think the concept of there being a lab leak is inherently a conspiracy theory. What is conspiracy is the kind of distortions of that particular subject, like it was a lab leak and I was parachuted into the CIA like Jason Bourne and told the CIA that they should really not be talking about a lab leak.
Okay, so there's a million things. I know we're all going to be chomping at the bit at this one that we could roast Dr. Fauci here.
I just want to
right?
eat my microphone at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We're all ready to pounce.
Gouge my fucking eyes out.
Yeah. So hang on one
The
second.
word salad as
Yeah,
it
yeah.
comes.
So there's all those points. There's all those points, right? But I want to harp real quick first on being parachuted into the CIA like Jason Bourne.
All
He's
right,
going
show it.
to
Let
the
'em
most
know.
hyperbolic, over-the-top example to try and dismiss his role in the lab leak theory. When I heard this, I was like, wait a minute. There was a story like some point last year about him going to visit the CIA during during COVID, right? So I just fucking did a quick 8-second Google search.
Hold on, I like that Kevin Spacey's right next to him.
Yeah, right. Applicable. So from
another,
Newsweek,
another successful person.
September 27, 2023, Fauci had secret meeting with CIA about COVID, Republicans claim. The GOP-led House Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus pandemic alleges that former Chief White House medical advisor Fauci was escorted by the CIA and influenced on the origins of COVID-19. The letter, written by Ohio Representative Brad Wenstrup and addressed to Inspector General Christy Grimm, was made public on Tuesday and claims that Fauci, an immunologist and then director of the NIAID, entered CIA headquarters without a record of entry and participated in an analysis to shape a particular narrative regarding the lab leak theory. It is unknown who provided the information to the subcommittee, though the letter mentions one individual, Special Agent Brett Rowland, and requests that the IG make him available for voluntary transcribed interview. Our goal is to ensure scientific investigative process regarding the origins of COVID-19 was fair, impartial, and free of any alternative influence. So Dr. Fauci there in his little, he went super hyperbolic in his thing, saying, I got parachuted in like Jason Bourne or whatever. He doesn't specifically reference that it was Congress who was investigating him going to the CIA. He's presenting it as if it's us retards here on Two Doomed Men and anti-vaxxers and whatever. We're making this claim that he was parachuted in to the CIA. So number one, I don't even think it's not like he was directly referencing this. He was referencing conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't reference this. So conspiracy theorists probably could have made this point, but that's not who in reality actually was making this point. It was the Congress was investigating him for this thing. So it's also written in Newsweek and the New York Post, etc. So like there is merit. It's not just a bunch of retards like us who are saying this stuff. It was in Congress and reported on major newspapers. Yet the guy, all these years later, is drawing a comparison to Jason Bourne parachuting in. That leads me to believe that there is way more to this.
He's probably telling the truth. He was parachuted in.
Like
he's like, this is
just
human
human nature.
Fucking wild. Nobody's gonna believe it, so I'm just gonna say it.
Right, human nature almost. Right, like when you get caught doing something you should have been doing, one of like your self-defense mechanisms is to like make the most over-the-top comparison, outlandish lie. So then people will automatically be like, yeah, that does sound pretty crazy. Nah, that doesn't sound likely. But no, he didn't get parachuted in. He walked right in the front fucking door.
Fucking front doors.
Yeah.
Yep.
They probably sent him a car.
And somebody even swiped for him. He didn't even have to touch anything because he had to stay 6 feet from it and not touch any surfaces. Fucking jerk off.
We spoke in depth last week about the Dave Smith, Chris Cuomo COVID debate. And we've come to the conclusion of an old question that we always had of, are they just stupid or are they nefarious? And when you watch, and I've heard a lot more of Fauci's clips from that day and people ripping on him and all that stuff. And if you could almost compare Cuomo and Fauci's responses to questions and being like, no, you're just dancing around the answer. We have proof of you saying this. Here's said proof. And then they just come up with some new word salad to be, well, at the time, we didn't know, inherently there was a conspiracy, quote unquote. And they use these terms to get out of the questions. And they literally will be shown a video of them, committing whatever, not even, word for word saying like,
That-
what they're being questioned.
That was
and they'll
one of the
deny it.
wild, yeah, that was one of the wildest things when I was watching the PVD debate over there. Was like, Dave was like, literally, he's like, bring up the video.
Yeah.
And you imagine us three sitting here right now having a debate with somebody, and all of a sudden, like, one of us said something super fucked up, and we know he said something super fucked up. We're like, nah, didn't say it. And then Skaggs is like, well, Garrett, maybe you did. Boom. And then all three of us had to watch it. I'm like, nah, wasn't me.
Yeah, well, then
me.
you
like,
start
we just saw you
up
with Don Lemon. Like, we just saw you over there. And he's like, I wasn't talking about that. And he's like, dude, he was what, but this is the thing. And I don't know if you guys feel this way. Once that part of the debate went through and it showed how dishonest he was being, even with video evidence presented to his face and recaps and a trillion views from it, can you trust anything else that comes out of that man's mouth?
No, if you actually watch that, no, you can't. But I know what you mean. That was a tipping point in that debate, right? Like that was
it just showed that
the most obvious thing.
What do we always say? Like when we have a debate, we're both coming. How do you put it? We're both coming from like
good faith.
Yeah,
he couldn't lawyer his way out of that. Right?
He couldn't, man. Couldn't, like, yeah. I mean, it's the comic Dave that just fucking eviscerates all these people.
The Legion of Skanks. I don't know why anybody.
There's a reason why he said that too. Don't get it twisted. Like he was trying to, in a way, almost belittle Dave by making fun of their comedy podcast. The Legion. I don't know why you choose that thing. Like what are you not serious?
Nobody should vote for somebody that's part of the Legion of Skanks. Yeah,
I would.
Yeah. And I'd vote for a felon that's from the Legion of Skanks.
Well, so to get back on track with the Fauci and everything else is like he's been caught in so many lies and back talks, and then everybody's like, "Oh, you can't put like." They literally changed the definitions of words in the Webster dictionary to fucking fit their narratives. They've changed they've changed words on websites. Like you literally looked at it and then it rebooted, and they're like, "This is not gain of function." Like
herd immunity,
these people have been lying straight to our face. No, there's lying face. We have phone calls, we have emails, we have physical, them telling us one thing one week, even if all that stuff's out the window, anybody with a logical thinking brain from the start of COVID to the end of COVID, what they were telling us to do, like you could sit down and eat, but you can't stand up. You can go here, but you got to put your back, like the logic that they were putting on there. And there's still people wearing masks out there. I saw 2 today. There's still people out there.
Yeah. They are the weaker.
Do we save them?
Weaker
do we save them, or we just let them like this is natural?
Here's a funny personal story. I went to the eye doctor the other day for the first time in a very long time, and the 2 eye doctors were wearing masks, and now coronavirus and whatnot, completely unrelated to the eye doctor. But now I had to have in the back of my mind, oh my God, the doctor's wearing a mask. Can I trust what this doctor is going to say about my
yes, buddy?
That's a bad sign. Like they're wearing masks years later. They're definitely not that much of a critical thinker. Am I sure that they're going to be honest here with me, or they're not on some weird?
Or are they just going to prescribe you something to make it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of all our litmus test at this point. Like, if you're going to treat me for something serious and you still have a mask on, I'm probably going for a second opinion.
Exactly. So, Cap, I want to get back real quick, Cap, what you were saying. That there's this weird thing that guys like Cuomo and Fauci will do when they're being questioned, where they will do this like lawyering.
Lie?
This lawyering.
Blatantly lie to your face.
It's not just normal lying. It's not normal lying.
No, this is like advanced lying.
This
is like serious evil diabolical lying.
And it's also a similar style of lying, right? People lie in different ways. It's a very similar style.
I went to the same acting school, bro.
Could be, right? They've been coached by the same
CIA
firm, right? Also, in that same regard, with Fauci, he's saying, people want to accuse us of dismissing the lab leak at the time, and he was saying how like, no, I never dismissed the lab leak at the time. I just dismissed
Shut
the
up,
conspiracy
you
theory of the
liar.
time, and how he's also said in other videos, well, no, we made these recommendations based on the information that we had at the time.
Mhm.
And then, the science
Eco
changed.
health.
But see, the thing is, that's not what you said at the time,
I
though.
know.
At the time, you said
Yeah.
you were 100% certain with absolute,
Yes.
it's safe and effective, whether it was
Yeah,
the mask
big
or the
thing
vaccine
is-
or whatever. In the moment, you didn't say, look, we're not 100% certain. We think it's probably safe and effective.
Mhm.
We're not 100% certain, though. Therefore, we're just telling you right now, we
We
think it's
can
like,
literally do a short Google search and watch him lie his way through 3 years. Like we
Yeah,
could just put
sure.
like
could.
even a month apart of like interviews of him, and you'll watch him walk it back, walk it to the precipice, and then once everybody figured out he's fucking lying, they started walking it back to the other side of it. But
it's funny that the way they answer these questions, because now it's we're like what 3-4 years out from COVID. We're 3-4 years out from when they made these claims, and then they just, oh, well, we didn't know at the time. We were doing research at the time. Now we know X, Y, and Z, and we know A, B, and C, and this and that. Right, but you said, you never held yourself accountable. If you didn't know back then and you were still doing research back then, how did you come out with such authority that you were right 100% of the time?
Can I also make another comparison? Something we recently covered, Governor Cuomo, another liar. He said that he had no authority at the time to enforce the mandates, but then we played a video of ourselves at Pete's Saloon showing that he did. It's all this. It's a very similar brand of lying, and it's like it's not. It's like they're relying on the fact that
we
it was
didn't
4
tell
years
you
ago.
were going to lose your jobs and everything else if you didn't get this, and we didn't tell you.
Yeah, but Fauci's
we had no control to
on
keep
record
people out of your things without masks. Meanwhile, they had fucking like people at the doors at bars and health officials and all that.
I
stuff
never was for the mandates. I made my recommendations.
And meanwhile,
people took
he's
them.
on record saying, well, once you start, forcing people or mandating these things, people drop, make their lives uncomfortable. They drop their ideological bullshit. That's his words. He's on record saying that.
I know.
Yeah,
It's his
in
voice
I think an audiobook. The most ironic part about that little comment is that this is his ideological bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have to follow the science.
I am the science.
Your entire health system as a living organism needs to be replaced by the pharmaceutical industry. That's like some weird religious ideology shit that these people follow. Yet he's saying here, you lose your ideology. What ideological bullshit? Freedom, self-ownership, choice.
You fucking blatantly lying to her.
Yeah.
The thing.
It really, real quick, my last point. Like, it shows you the mentality of this guy deeper than the shit that we normally see on TV. Like, he is not any. I mean, most people obviously recognize this, right? But he's not like a patriotic American who believes in freedom, obviously, right? Like his core, the way that
he eats hot dogs with his ass on 4th of July
is like, no, everything is about my religion, which is the pharmaceutical industry, science, and getting sick and things like this. That's his primary concern of everything in life.
You know what's a good thing that just popped into my head, like a good standard? He's like, oh, well, I didn't back these mandates and I didn't do this and I didn't do that. But people like the Two Doom Men, people like Sergeant and Samurai, people like the Patriot podcast community that we were part of, we all got strikes on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all across social media boards. And we were censored time and time again because YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all these social media platforms took Fauci's recommendations and ran with them.
Yeah, if you look through the community guidelines, policies, and whatnot,
word is everything.
Literally billion-dollar companies like Facebook rewrote their terms and guidelines based on your recommendations from 4 years ago while you were still doing research.
Idiots like Chase Oliver at the time were making the libertarian point of, well, they're a private company and they're free to do what they want. No, they're just extensions of the government. Right?
In principle, yes, they are.
In principle, yes, but in reality, no. And libertarianism applies beyond what we can see, right in front of our fucking faces. And if you can't do that, I'm sorry to go on a rant about Chase Oliver. If you can't understand that in the moment, then you don't deserve to be the LP nominee.
Well, I mean, the thing that's frustrating for people like me is, no, obviously we knew all this information, but like everybody was calling you YouTube this and a YouTube doctor, and you don't know anything and what research you do. I mean, like literally, myself and James, within 2 months, maybe 4 at the most, of this all happening, we knew about Equal Health, we knew about the labs, we knew about the labs in fucking North Carolina, we knew about the people getting arrested at Harvard, and the guy who got, everybody doesn't know about that guy who got arrested that was part of the gain of function and everything else. We knew about all this stuff, like everything that's came out. Like Equal Health will never get a grant from the government again because they pulled all their shit, because they proved that they were doing gain of function research after they all fucking lied to you forever. But this is what's so infuriating.
And tortured puppies.
I've been in torture mode for 4 years because it's taken almost half a decade for this information that if you were just smart enough to Google search and fucking shit post and share back and forth with your friends and get in front of the right people and talk in the right circles and talk to the people that have, information and all this other stuff, like literally everything that is in Congress, we fucking figured out in 4 months. First 4 months. It's taking 5 years for it to draw out through the legal process. Like, there's two
How
things.
long?
One, this legal process does it. They say that the wheels of justice turn slow.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is too slow because look, we just had to sit through a fucking rigged election and the consequences for almost 4 years, and he's allowed to run again when we're seeing all the Georgia election people for stuffing ballots are fucking in there. They're throwing out the Georgia cases. They're investigating the people in Arizona. That all got out of the thing. But these are the consequences of all this stupidity. And like I said, like, I knew about this 4 months in.
Let me just make one comment. You could go ahead. Like, to only piggyback off of it, that is what aggravates me the most, is that they didn't have the research, quote unquote. They didn't have the research back then. They just didn't know.
They've been researching coronavirus since like fucking.
But meanwhile, a bunch of idiots on podcasts were right from the jump. From the jump, we were right, and
I know.
But go ahead, Skaggs. Go ahead.
I share your frustration, of course, right?
Yes.
But I also think you take for granted sometimes the power of propaganda and how long this has been going on for.
But Skaggs, I know you say that all the time.
Hang on, let me make my points, and then you can make your points. This didn't just start it wasn't like 4 years. The government was like, well,
no, it
we're going to start being
40
bad now.
years ago.
We're going to start being bad now. 4 years ago, they were like, just now, right now, we're going to start being bad for it. They have been conditioning the American public since its inception. Let's go back. Let's make a starting point. Let's make a starting point. Let's say around
1777.
No. Let's say around the creation of Woodrow Wilson and the Federal Reserve. Let's just use that as a rough idea of a starting point.
This is not a point. This is the dialogue.
Yes. Okay.
Go ahead.
How long did it take people to realize that the war in Iraq was bullshit? Many years.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any accountability for that yet?
Nope.
No, right? We're at the point where Benjamin Netanyahu used it as an example to try and still sound outrageous that we would put George Bush in prison for it. Like, it's not like he made that in the way that we would make that, like that he agrees with that. He thought that would have been an outrageous thing to say. That's where we're still at with this one thing 20 plus years later. It takes a very long time to undo the damage that the machine, the propaganda of the machine, has done to the American populace. We are undoing it. The time frame is shortening. We're only within 4 years now, as opposed to 20 years.
Why didn't it work on us?
Why didn't it work on us? Because we're part of the solution. We are
but that's what I'm just saying. Like, hear me out. I
Autism won the day, pal.
Yes, I know. the tism, we got it. Right? But no, because Skaggs, you've said that to me before, and I agree with you. I mean, they spent how much money into this propaganda machine, brainwashing people, everything else. But what makes us different that we were like, nah, fuck it. Now, like what did happen? I mean, granted, it might have took me a little bit sooner and maybe you a little bit longer and then another one, but we all kind of like whatever, because I've been talking about half this shit. You know what it is? I think I stopped believing the government, a long time ago when I saw certain things. And I also think why I don't buy into certain shit and you make fun of me on other things is because I do believe in like the higher powers and the other shit and the stuff that's like, well, yeah, but they fucking told us aliens are real and still nobody cares. Like,
yes, by default, you believing in God means that you don't believe that the government is God, right? Like you believe that there's a higher authority above the government, right? So that's good. I think that's way better than people who like the woke stuff right now. Essentially, this weird government program is their God, right?
Mhm.
That's not good. That's going to convince them any flavor of the month thing cause they need to be supporting.
I think it's so hard for us too because like once you recognize, like I say it all the time, once the light switch goes on, our bullshit meter on like maybe not like every story
We
that comes
peek
out
behind the curtain.
shifts up, but like
Sure.
our bullshit meter on propaganda and just double talk and back talking and word salad, we all just go ding 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 ding, and we're like, yeah, fuck these people.
If you want to talk about three of us, the difference is probably the culture that we were raised in. Captain raised by a Vietnam vet, me raised by an immigrant butcher. I'm not sure about your exact upbringing, Garrett,
Just
but
a pure psycho.
yeah, I'd assume not exactly your like public school liberal upbringing.
Yeah, something tells me your mother wasn't the music
but
teacher.
you understand what I'm trying to say?
school.
Like we already were probably raised with a sort of culture that didn't see government as God. Or
Yeah, I
something
mean,
like that.
I come from.
I was honestly, I
come
was
from a
taught-
bunch of small business owners. You know, like
Yeah.
didn't work with it. They did their own thing, and you know, they're Jersey Italians, and you know, they don't like people, and you know, like the government.
Oh, so you
stuff
were
like
raised
that.
by the mob. Got it.
So no, stop it. I'll talk to you guys offline. But you know, like
Give me a job in sanitation.
yeah,
Yeah, no
So-
show contracts.
yeah. No, exactly. You know, it is what it is. And then, but I also think it also comes to us growing up in such a corrupt state. You know, you guys grew up in New York. I grew up in New Jersey. And like, even right now, if I know, are you guys still doing hard stops at 1 hour?
No.
Yeah, but it's fine.
All right.
we
Well,
still got
let me,
3 weeks, so we
I'll
gotta
give
take
you
a
just
It's not a
we-
hard stop, you know.
Okay, all right. So I'll just give you a quick synopsis of what my last week has been like. And this is just kind of ties into like we growing up and seeing how fucking corrupted everything our government is. My local highway that my business is on and leads to my house, right? The bridge that they've been working on for 9 months, that they already did all the surveying for over a year. They just shut down the biggest bridge from our community from upstate New York over Digman's Ferry. It's the feeder into New York City, everything else. It's our little road that gets everybody from Northwest Jersey down to the city or down to where they have to go. They shut it down, like without telling any of us, like middle of the day, boom, no more cars can go, right? Now, they've been working on this bridge for 9 months. They've been researching this bridge or surveying it probably a year before. How did nobody notice that this bridge was sinking, right? It's been sinking. We all noticed because when you went over it, you're doing this, and they were just slapping asphalt on it and everything. Well, so happens, you know, we've all seen construction, right? Especially court, or, you know, state construction. There's always an inspector coming in there. There's always somebody you got to pay for a permit. There's always all that background stuff, right? That you got to see coming in because why? In our thing, it's okay. Who's going to bid? What union job's going to get it? How much is going to get kicked back here? How much time can we stretch this job out to make sure that it goes? You know, as long as possible. We can milk as much money out of the state because we got that contract and we're kicking it back. We're just used to dealing with this for years. But now my business is suffering because they literally just closed down their street. Now they're saying it's going to be 6 weeks in the middle of our busiest time because we live like by the biggest lake in New Jersey where all the bars, this is where they make their money during this time of year. And they're going to tell us, middle of July, we might be able to get traffic back up and down past.
And you know that timeline is garbage.
Oh, exactly. But they're expediting it, and all our mayors and everybody else. We were at a meeting yesterday. They're all patting themselves on the back because they got it done in 6 weeks. I'm like, yo, we live next to Picatinny Arsenal. Call them and get a fucking bridge launcher. Like, what is the problem? They drive tanks and tanker trucks and everything. And I'm like, guys, you got to protest from a federal, state, whatever level. They're saying they exhausted the state level. I'm like, go to federal. What's the worst? They are handing out money left and right. Can't hurt to ask, right? So like, I'm going back and forth and doing this, but like, that's their answer. And then once again, we're getting the same thing we got during COVID. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We're going to stick together, but none of us making any of the decisions are going to miss a paycheck. None of us making any of the other decisions. And then, oh yeah, you know, we're going to get another company in that's going to bid on it. Dude, it's just like, we're so used to this fucking rigmarole of incompetence in our state. We're just sick of listening or trusting anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Well, at its best, government is incompetent, and that's what you're explaining.
Yeah, at its best.
Like at its best. And I don't think that there's some grand conspiracy behind the bridge falling
No,
blocks
there's
away,
no
right? But at
conspiracy.
its best, you detailed how incompetent the government is, not just in the fact that they couldn't notice that the bridge was sinking and fix it ahead of time, but the
Well,
fact
the
that they now
problem
can't
was
fix it in a reasonable amount of time afterwards. And if you were to go and fix it yourself, let's say a bunch of you guys bought I don't know,
it'd be done this weekend. You
you'd
give
be
my boys a
thrown in
couple
prison.
cases of
You'd
beer
be
and Red
thrown
Bulls
in
and be done.
jail for doing unauthorized road work. Right? I know the fucking funny joke all the time about libertarians is who would do the roads? People would. You guys would have already fixed the problem.
Dude, we would have been
if people
over it.
were in charge of the roads. But
And
because
we're not
right
crossing
now,
the mighty Mississippi. We're crossing the fucking Rockaway River Creek.
Yeah,
like
it's
it's like 2 lanes. Like I said right now, I literally looked at everybody. I'm like, I can call 2 crane operators right now. I can call 10 guys at a local 11 that I know are sitting that will fucking weld that steel. We got 2 electricians sitting right next to us that could run everything and get a team together. And I know the concrete guys that's out at the other end of the bar that want to move all their trucks and do everything. Like we could do this in a fucking weekend.
Sounds like you need to run for mayor.
Ron DeSantis literally built a bridge over the Tampa Bay Harbor after a hurricane in 2 fucking days. It's going to take us another 6 weeks to rebuild the temporary bridge that failed. And while the whole highway shut down, because they're doing work while people are moving, they got to work while they've got cars. I understand all that shit. It's been shut down for a week. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to keep continuing the work. Just get the fucking bridge done. If you got all this time that you can work 24/7, just get it over. Why is it going to take another 8 months to do the regular?
You know what you should do? You should just invite the president of China over, and you'll lose all your homeless people, and they'll fix the bridge in a weekend, and then they'll knock it down afterwards.
Dude, they'll make a bridge out of homeless people. They'll tie the homeless people up like hand and arm.
I mean, the other issue is they're not going to move any faster than they have to, especially in my area, because we are the red part of New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
So,
there's the conspiracy there, just hindering your mobility.
No, because, you got to listen. We went through COVID, and then we had the algae bloom, right? In the summer, we had the algae bloom. So our levels of algae were too high in the lake, so they wouldn't let anybody swim in it for the whole fucking summer. Our biggest time of the year, all that stuff. So we went through COVID. Then the state shut us down for COVID. The state shut us down for the algae bloom. And now the state is in charge of the bridge that gets to where the biggest lake in New Jersey is, where all of us that don't vote for them anywhere live. And now that's every 2 years. And this is the problem. There's no
question for you. Not to get too technical, but who's in charge of the lake?
There's a lake. The state is technically, because our lake goes through 5 towns.
Mm-hmm.
So the state comes in and tax it.
It's like a district.
We have our own Lake Apacon commission where there's the board of all the towns around.
Who has ultimate say on managing the lake? The state.
The state.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So there's an algae bloom in the lake that the state controls, and the state said they can't use the lake because they control the lake.
Yes. So, but the funny thing is if you go over to New York or Pennsylvania, what our state was reading for algae, all their lakes are higher and they're open.
It's interesting, man. I don't know.
It's very interesting.
You guys should be you know what I told you to do. You guys should be organizing and raising as much hell as possible.
Well, listen, we've done our due diligence okay, you got to give him some time because this isn't his fault, the mayor.
Tar and feather.
He's trying to do the
you might have to just make an example of him just for the hell
No,
of it.
I know. Well, listen, I gave him his fucking 48 hours. You know what I'm saying? It's
in the text messages, it was 24 hours, pal.
No, but no.
It's been 2 weeks since we had this conversation. Yeah.
No, it happened on Tuesday night, right? They shut it all down. So then it was over the weekend. They're trying to figure out, and we had our first community meeting this Tuesday. So it was 1 week. And then they just told us it's going to be 6 more weeks, and that's when we talk. And I voiced my opinions, I'm not scared to open my mouth and say something, right? But there is a lot of talk about class action lawsuiting with all the businesses. We've all talked about class action lawsuiting the construction company because it's total negligence. They're working on it every day. It's going wrong. But the only reason I think they did shut it down at all to begin with and say it was shifting was a week before an off-duty police officer was driving down there at a high rate of speed late at night and hit that whoop, and it sent them, I guess. And then they were coming out to investigate it, and I think the troopers came out to investigate it, probably called out an engineer, and then they shut it down. So somebody died. Otherwise, that bridge would still be open. They wouldn't have shut it down yet. You know what I'm saying?
Fun and games until somebody loses an eye.
Yep, very much so. So, all right, tweets of the week. Let's go,
Do it.
baby.
Let's do it. Okay, hang on. Let's do share window. No audio. I hope you don't have any audio in your tweets, Cap. If you do,
I don't remember the first one, so
Okay.
maybe.
all right. So my first one here. It's from Mostly Peaceful Memes. What's Mostly Peaceful Memes sharing a
great.
picture of a guy kitted out in bananas? Well, he's quote tweeting a CNN article where it says U.S. jury finds Chiquita Brands International liable for financing a Colombian paramilitary group. So Mostly Peaceful Memes
I like
shared
that.
this one. This guy kitted out banana. Yeah, I don't know. Chiquita, the banana brand, is financing a Colombian paramilitary.
Oh, they've been in
group.
so many different things, and I was actually just watching like
Peace was never an
World War
option.
II or something, and they were like going after Chiquita Banana, and they were money laundering for these people out of this country. It was fucking
Real
wild.
upstanding company.
Yep.
But I love me and my bananas, so.
Oh boy.
What do we have here? All right, Cenk Uygur, however the fuck you say his last name. Hunter Biden is guilty on 3 gun charges. Yeah, he did it. Also, he's it's so small. Can't you make the same big? He's half the country has done this crime. Saying that you haven't done any drugs on a gun form, including pot. Are you going to go to jail for this? No, because you've never been charged with this rinky-dink bullshit. I thought it was pretty interesting that, finally agreed on something.
Yeah, Cenk's not the worst.
He's gotten better over time.
He's pretty bad.
He's pretty bad. He's not the
He's pretty
worst, though. I didn't say he was good. I said he's not the worst.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to jail for this? No, because you'd never be charged with this rinky-dinky bullshit. So he's saying he's not going to go to jail. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Remains to be seen. Maybe that the way it plays out, it's the way you said it, Gary Ray gets pled down to basically a couple months or whatever it's going to be.
Well,
all right.
He's only like a 16-time prior offender, so he should be fine.
All right, so my next tweet is by Konstantin Kizin. He's replying to AOC. AOC says the callousness, dehumanization, and targeting of Jews on display at last night's protest outside the Nova Festival exhibit was atrocious anti-Semitism, plain and simple. Anti-Semitism has no place in our society, nor any broader movement that centers human dignity and liberation. My tweet of the week is Konstantin Kizin, who says, "It's great that you said this. Thank you. I'd encourage you to consider how your words and actions have contributed to encouraging and emboldening the lunatics on your side who are responsible for this." I'm not sharing this for the reason you think I might be. Konstantin Kizin made his bones on opposing woke shit, right? He is an anti-woke podcaster, like personality, right? And he many times over the years has said this idea of words are violence is ridiculous. But now he is taking the position that words are violence. Konstantin Kizin.
Yeah, could he be doing it ironically against her?
I would encourage you to consider.
He was being like facetious?
No. He says, I would encourage you to consider how your words and actions have contributed to encouraging and emboldening the lunatics on your side who are responsible for this. What is the topic that we're talking about here?
Anti-Semitism.
And Israel and Jewish
I'm surprised Ortiz came out about this because she's so behind Palestine. Like, I thought she didn't care about it.
Oh, she's a freaking sail in the wind, dude.
Come on, Camille.
I just found it ironic. It's more of this right wing, but when it comes to Israel, I throw all my principles that I put myself on.
Tell me you're controlled by Israel without telling me you're controlled by Israel.
He's like Ben Shapiro, not that bad, but in a sense, his entire thing is opposing identity politics. And
Ben Shapiro is such a pussy.
Yeah, but in this regard, no,
words are violence. You can't say mean things in front of the Nova Festival. How dare you?
Ugh.
Words are only violence if, like, I was like, "Skags, I'm gonna fuck."
This is the Truth Social one.
Then I went and fucked your face,
Okay. So the unfortunate truth, and it is a picture of remember Fraggle Rock, the bill.
That's
on
not Fraggle Rock.
What is it? What is it?
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. There we go. And it's how does a bill become a law? And the bill is passing the kid a couple of $100 bills.
Yeah. That's very true.
That's how they should. The Schoolhouse Rock should have really been teaching people.
Yes.
All right. Got one more. And then we'll wrap it up here.
On Capitol Hill.
So this is a tweet of an old tweet. So I'm picking it as a tweet of a week, but it's from 2023. Rothamus shared this, and it's a two-part. Kim Klasick says, "Why aren't kids in the hood transitioning to the opposite sex? I know the answer. I just wanted to see if you knew. Comment below." So Sarah Higdon says, "Well, because the typical demographic is upper middle class white kids of progressive parents for two reasons. They have time and money to be worried about such things, and they have been conditioned to believe through critical race theory that they are an oppressor and there is no way they can ever escape that status. So they see this as a way to join an oppressed class for which they are celebrated for instead of condemned. It's the relationship between critical race theory and queer theory." That was very well said. And
I thought that was very well said.
Yes, that's a pretty impressive answer, I must say. Yeah.
It's like it gets to the point and explains everything within a short paragraph. In a way that it's very hard to explain some of these like really deep points about what's happening and these weird ideologies. Very hard to explain some of this stuff to normies, right?
It is. And that I thought that was a good way to explain it in a short amount of time, actually, too.
Yeah. Cuts right to the point in a compelling way.
Very direct. I like it.
All right. That's it.
All right, Doom Nation. Yep. You boys got anything left to say?
Merrick Garland, they're going after him. Merrick Garland, they're going after him. I thought it was funny right after Hunter Biden and all that other shit. And I was pretty fucking amazed that we pulled off a 2008 to 208 to a 207 vote. And with that vote, they're supposed to drag him back to fucking Congress or arrest him. Like the Sergeant Arms is supposed to go get him and fucking arrest him.
That's beautiful.
If the Republicans had any balls, they actually would, but they're not going to fucking.
They ain't gonna do it because they ain't got the balls.
You're gonna do shit. Just the reason why Fauci's only brought up on Capitol Hill. Anyway, Doom Nation, that's our show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Lance, Liberty Guy Lance, thank you for commenting. Somebody gave us a like. That's pretty awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We will be back next week. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Adios, Doom Nation.